What do you think is missing in the adoption in El Salvador so that both the government and other private entities can accept payments in Bitcoin?
It seems like people are doing a lot of good education and outreach when it comes to Bitcoin, but I think maybe perhaps there could be a little bit more, especially with businesses. It isn't easy. A lot of times things don't go well. I know even just like in the States where I see, businesses who want to accept Bitcoin, where I'm from in the States, they have so many issues like not integrating into their POS system, etc. So I think especially with businesses, maybe having a really strong framework and a playbook that these businesses can kind of go by, like learning how to actually get Bitcoin like operating in your infrastructure, and then also like how to start accepting it, and then what to do with Bitcoin after. Like, hey, now I have a bunch of Bitcoin on my balance sheet, and it keeps going down. What should I do? These are like really great questions for any business. And so I think like education and then like more of an onboarding framework might be successful.
Well, I think that, with what happened in Bitcoin Beach, the success story here in El Salvador almost happened overnight, because you had Bitcoin Beach kind of growing grassroots. Then you had the political establishment that took that on and basically not forced it, but kind of pushed it down to the population. And, there's suspicion whenever the government's trying to tell you to do something or change something. There's just natural suspicion with that. So I think for us, Bitcoin adoption in Guatemala is going to be a lot different. My goal is that we get a much broader grassroots adoption, and there's demand from the ground up. And so you will probably see better adoption and better use through a widespread grassroots adoption, unlike what happened here in Guatemala.
I think it's because it's too new, and humans, we are scared about new things. But I think the Salvadorian people are doing a great job in Bitcoin adoption, and I think it's going to happen eventually. Sooner or later, everybody is going to use Lightning Network in El Salvador.
Well, I think it's a matter of time. I think one has to give it some time. It's a new technology. It's always easy to be bullish and say things are going to happen faster, and we always say things are going to happen faster than what they actually happen. In real life, things take longer, and I think it's only been a year. Some of the figures I've heard is, between 10 and 20% adoption rate across the country. And I think if that had been the case in any other country, that would have been on the front page of every newspaper. It's a lot of people in the bigger context of things. But, people are creatures of habit. We don't necessarily change our habits very quickly. It takes time.
It's still difficult to get Bitcoin, right? It's still difficult to obtain Bitcoin. So you have to find one of the few Chivo ATMs, okay, or maybe one of the Athena ATMs that charges a 10% fee. It's still actually rather challenging to obtain Bitcoin, okay, to get it in your hands, all right? Things like Azteco are making that easier, but if you're in El Salvador, it's probably not easy to hook up to an exchange and KYC yourself with a driver's license and everything and link your bank account and buy Bitcoin. That's still incredibly challenging. So I think that that's still the biggest barrier to people using Bitcoin, is the fact that it's kind of still difficult to get.
Yeah, I think it's the same reason, the user experience reason still. Of course, there's like the trust issue early on with the problems of the Chivo wallet that I've heard about. I didn't really experience too much firsthand, but then there's just the interoperability with the banking system in El Salvador that's lacking. Any other wallet other than the Chivo wallet, like there's no option other than Chivo, right, if you want to transfer to a bank. I think that's a big hole that will hopefully be fixed soon, that will make Lightning much more accessible and desirable in El Salvador.
Yeah, it's a really good question that I didn't expect coming here, seeing actually that there isn't that much adoption, especially by just local, street type of merchants. And people really trust cash. They think hard cash is something they can trust because they can hold it, and because it has a history of working. And so, really walking around the city here, it really made me think, how do we make Bitcoin physical again? How do we have a 10 sat note? You know, and it's a bit silly to think about it, but I do think. I mean, we have Caucasus coins, you know, back in the day that are these physical Bitcoin coins, but we need more cash solutions for Bitcoin. It's counterintuitive. Bitcoin is magic internet money. It's money for the internet, and that is digital by default. But I think it's but at the same time, it's peer-to-peer cash, right?
Yeah.
So I think we have to go. I think we have to find a solution. I think if we. So right now, Bitcoin solutions are for digitally native people that are living their life online, that have their digital wallet. You have applications like Machankura that are enabling Bitcoin for people that use SMS. You know, you have essentially very low quality phones, right? Like the old Nokias, and they can send Bitcoin via SMS. That's incredible. But I think we need to go further. I think we need to make Bitcoin physical. We need to find a way to make Bitcoin, whether it's using LNURL or some other tool, to make it actually tangible so that people can exchange it freely. And that being the bearer instrument of actual Bitcoin, not okay. So I'm not aware of anyone doing that, but I think doing something like that would be incredibly powerful for the economy of non-digitally native population.